Raiders of the Lost Ark blends reality and fantasy, and thanks to series producer George Lucas avoided giving Indiana Jones an outlandish cybernetic enemy to fight. The sinister SS intelligence agent Arnold Toht menaces the heroes of Raiders, but his all-too-realistic brand of evil was nearly augmented by cybernetic, weapons-laden body parts, which would have been too over-the-top for an action film that typically remains relatively grounded. George Lucas, while infamous for suggesting questionable ideas in his famous film franchises, turned out to be the voice of reason for Raiders. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a quintessential adventure film by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg that served as an homage to their favorite pulp action serials and launched the Indiana Jones franchise. Although the film's booby trap plot and temple and supernatural Ark of the Covenant are far-fetched, most of the film's many action scenes require little suspension of disbelief from viewers. This not only creates a sense of vulnerability for the protagonists, but also makes the few fantastic moments stand out. Arnold Toht is a ruthless agent of the SS with no unusual features, aside from a burn on one hand inflicted by the staff of Ra's headpiece. According to an Empire Online interview with Steven Spielberg, Toht was initially going to have a prosthetic hand that was in fact a machine gun and a flamethrower, but George Lucas talked Spielberg out of the idea, feeling that it'd cross Raiders of the Lost Ark into another film genre. Lucas was right, of course, as Toht's original concept would have ruined the general sense of realism in Raiders of the Lost Ark that was only broken up in key moments. Why George Lucas was right: the Indiana Jones films are not renowned for their relative sense of realism, especially as the series' sequels delve deeper into the realm of fantasy, but Raiders of the Lost Ark remains the most grounded of the bunch. Much of the film revolves around ordinary beings reacting to the supernatural Ark of the Covenant, with Jones seeking to protect it out of respect, and the Nazis seeking it as both a trophy and a potential weapon. To have Arnold Toht, who is already an intimidating villain as an ordinary intelligence agent, have weapons-laden prosthetics would be a distraction from the main fantasy element of the film, not to mention its over-the-top nature could easily backfire and become an unintentionally ridiculous element. Creator George Lucas, particularly later in his career, has a reputation for bizarre ideas, particularly in the Star Wars franchise, with major continuity contractions being knowingly suggested in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and names like Darth Icky being proposed for the Force Unleashed protagonist. Lucas's veto of Spielberg's Toht concept in Raiders proves that this isn't always the case, as Toht's banal flavor of evil fit with the rest of the film. Raiders of the Lost Ark balances its realism and fantasy elements well, and Lucas was correct to reject the initial version of Arnold Toht.